DiFalco, secretary and trustee.
Phil Cosme.
Annie Internicola, trustee.
Lisa Bruck, vice president and trustee.
Ursula, Inghem, president and trustee. I want to note for the record that Pat's still on medical leave. Brian had a conflict tonight, and Joe is trying to get here. He got held up in the city.
How
Okay.
much they get?
Pardon me?
How much did they get? You said they got held up in the city.
Probably $1.95. Okay. The next item on the agenda would be the approval of the agenda, which is in front of you. So please take a quick moment to review it. If you have any questions, then we'll proceed. Anybody have any questions or concerns about the agenda? I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Oh, I need a second. Annie seconds. All those in favor, please indicate by raising.
Hang on a second.
Yes, Phil.
Oh, okay. I was looking for that financial report. Okay.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. We have 6 in favor and 3 absent, so that's unanimous. The next item is public comment. Clark, you're the only public present. Did you have a comment?
If you could just add that, I was, here present as far as, press,
Okay.
and, I know that there's a lot going on, but maybe in the future that could make it a little more accessible. So
This is unusual because we have a program in the other room.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, we're in that room.
Yeah, okay, all right, thanks. That's it.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the minutes of the regular board meeting of 5/18. Those start on page 2. I'm going to move to accept the minutes as presented. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, David. Anybody have any questions or concerns about the minutes? You should have all received them in plenty of time to have read them prior to tonight. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, please indicate by raising your hand. We have 6 affirmative. That makes it unanimous tonight. The Friends of the Kingston Library report. Were you at the meeting the other night, Phil?
Unfortunately, no. And I do apologize for that because in retrospect, I remember it was listed on there and I just didn't even think about it. And it's been a hard year for me and I usually don't miss my obligations, but I will definitely do better in the future. Although the next meeting is into September, but try and fill in on anything that they do in the interim.
I was able to make the meeting, and some of the things that were discussed is the Friends taking on a project to do fundraising for the fence with a goal of about $40,000, I think they said.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so they're going to be working very hard on events where they can raise money this summer going into fall and winter. And I would like to ask that board members be as supportive of these activities as you possibly can. Spread the word, come if you're able, so that we can help the Friends support the library. Other than that, I don't think there was anything big that came out of the Friends meeting. They did say that instead of waiting for the banner for the, they said they would buy for the first place team from last year. The Battle of the Books this year is going to be starting. They authorized me to tell Kristen that if she wants to go ahead with the banner now, to take that, give them a receipt for that, and they will give her a check for the balance of the $200 for the Battle of the Books fund. So I haven't talked to her yet about that. But I don't think there was anything else. Was there anything came out of that meeting? Okay. That ends the Friends of the Library report. The report on from the executive committee can be found on page 6. We met on June 13th at 5 o'clock. Attending was myself, Lisa Bruck, Ellen DiFalco, Brian Moltman, and Margie Menard. All committee members were present. The financial reports were reviewed and are recommended for approval. We discussed when to hold the 2017 reorganization meeting. In our discussion, it was felt that having held it prior to the regular meeting seems to work well. It doesn't mean nobody has to come out for an extra meeting next month. But it would mean that I would have to extend the chairmanships of the committees for 1 month, because new committee chairman would be appointed at the July meeting, the reorganization meeting. So the committee recommends, and I hereby move, that the reorganization meeting be held on July 20th, 2017 at 5:45 p.m. in place of the Standards and Development Committee meeting. Do I have a second? Thank you, Lisa. Is there any discussion about that? Anybody have a problem with that date or want something else? Yes, Phil.
I think we had this problem last year, right?
What problem?
The fact that the terms ended.
Technically, the terms don't end until the next reorganization meeting. Definitely, my term does not end until the reorganization meeting, and I have the authority to appoint heads of committees. So I'm reappointing the current heads of committees for 1 month. That means that Joe will stay in at operations, that Brian will stay in at standards and development.
What did the bylaw?
The bylaw says I have the right to appoint committee chairman. It does not specifically say when those chairman's office ends.
But doesn't it say when the reorganization meeting is to be held?
It has to be held prior to the regular meeting in July, subsequent to the election. And it's always held in July. Now, if you have a date that you think is better and you want to bring it up for discussion, it's just that the last couple of years trying to get everybody together is difficult. And everybody's planning on that July 20th meeting, so it's just easier to do both back to back. And then all the announcements can go out together, so we're not waiting around to come up with a date from running a poll. So there's plenty of warning for the open meetings law.
No. I didn't read the bylaws, and I think this was going to come up again.
So I would just say,
Don't worry about me talking. The bylaws doesn't say beep about when you're gonna.
It doesn't say about the committee chairman, no. It just says I have the right to appoint.
Yeah, but what about the meeting itself?
Doesn't skip, there's no specific date for it. It's to be chosen at the convenience of the members of the board
Okay, well,
prior to the regular July meeting.
I don't have them in front of me, and I remember something different, so I can't comment one way or the other. Thank you.
Okay. David, did you want to say something?
so this meeting we're talking about having when?
We would have the reorganization meeting the same night as the regular board meeting. The reorganization meeting would be at 5:45 and then the regular board
And we
meeting at
know that
6:30.
you have already
And I know
announced
that
that
you're
you're
not
gonna have
available
it.
for that day.
Okay,
Okay. Is there any other questions about doing that? Okay. I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor of having the meeting for the reorganization at 5:45 on the 20th, please indicate by raising your hand. We have 5 yes votes. Anyone who was voting against it, please indicate by raising your hand. Bill is a no vote. We have no abstentions because that accounts for everybody. Okay. We also discussed the director's recommendation for a building monitor to replace the security firm we have been using, and Margie will discuss that in her director's report. That concludes the executive committee report. Yeah.
Okay, so I looked at the bylaws. What we have written is the first meeting following June 30th shall be the reorganization meeting, yada, yada, yada.
So we
Basically does not specify when,
Yes.
as long as it's before our
regular
next board
meeting, and that's what we're scheduling.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the executive committee report. The next one would be operations committee report. Since Joe wasn't here, Annie, can you make that report for us for the meeting that was held on June 8th?
I'm trying to think about what we did. We met with Lisa
Right.
Butler, Roland, and Mays to finalize a few decisions. We talked about the parking lot and the gates, the pricing. We made some decisions to cut a few things out because the budget was a little
So
higher. than we
basically,
hoped
your
for.
meeting was discussing the next project coming up,
Yeah.
which would be the parking lot and
Yeah.
fence, rather than the teen space.
Yeah.
Phil, did you want to say anything about the operations committee meeting?
Yes. Last month, the time was changed from 6 to 5 because Annie couldn't make it. That was the reason we had to change it.
Well, we changed it back to the normal time.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Were you the reason
You
that we
asked
changed
me
it?
a question, I'm
No.
answering your
The
question.
question was because you needed it changed, correct?
Well, I thought I was going to need it changed as soon as I knew, I told
Okay,
her.
well,
Before we made anything official though, I think Joe confirmed that it was still at the regular time.
well, I don't know how that is because number one, I was never notified. Number two, it was in the paper at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
It was on the board at 5 o'clock, then it was changed back to 6. And you subsequently showed up. So, two problems. This has been the case for the last 2 years that I've been on. One person wants to change the time gets changed, and I never get questioned or told.
I
Okay?
believe we had this discussion at last month's meeting about what time the
I'm-
operations committee would be.
Right, and I just gave you the details on that one. Okay? One person can't make it, we change the time. Nobody ever asked me, nobody ever tells me I have to come and somehow find out myself. I came here an hour early the other day because nobody told me it was gonna be at 5 o'clock. Okay? I think if we have a regularly scheduled meeting, if you can't make it, you can't make it. The time should be the same every month.
I understand where you're coming from, but I think we have to take into consideration there are things that are beyond our control. We've had to move meetings because the power was out in the building. We've had to move meetings because a blizzard came through. If we have a flu epidemic, we might need to change a meeting. As long as it's done in a timely fashion and the notice goes out to the paper, we are doing what we're supposed to do. I can understand your recommendation that we have the meetings at the date that's scheduled, and I would say that that date and time would normally be what was on the bottom of your agenda, that any adjustments to that would be made at the meeting if at all possible.
I noticed you didn't mention that all committee members would be notified of the changes.
Well, Phil, what happens is we send out the notice by email, and they print one copy and put it in your folder. So I can't tell when or if you're going to pick it up, so I'm not going to say,
So we're going back to this don't call Phil routine?
Phil,
No, I'm singled out because what happened was when we had that special meeting last month, somebody said to Marge, you better call Dave for whatever reason, and the meeting was already almost over. And she went and hustled up and called Dave, and Dave showed up and the meeting was over. So, I'm tired of this.
But aren't you called normally and that was just the one time?
No, I am never called. Never.
because if it's on the agenda, you should be aware of it.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I'm not talking about getting called for the regular meetings, I'm talking about getting called when the meetings are changed.
Yeah,
Which is
we
common
did change the
courtesy.
week because Margie couldn't make the first
Right.
week, and it's important for Margie to be there. And then the second week, I thought my conflict was earlier, so, but as soon as I knew about the time, I let Joe know.
I'm not objecting to the time, I just need to be notified.
Okay, I will make Joe aware of that. But I don't know that we can put out a special policy that if anything happens, make sure you call Phil. Don't leave a message in the folder for him because he won't check the folder. You have to call him on the phone.
I don't come in here every day. You expect me to come in here every day and check my folder when you take it, what, 5,
Once a
10
week.
minutes, not even 5 minutes to call me up? I have an answering machine, that's an electronic device, by the way.
Congratulations.
Well, you guys make a point of passing resolutions that I have to be contacted by electronic means, which is where the telephone is.
I believe that the specification was email.
No, electronic means. You guys thought you were slick.
We don't,
And I also got a problem with the fact that I asked Lisa why we don't have construction meetings to see how the construction is proceeding, and yet I see that we're paying the contractor X amount of money this month. How do we establish how much he should be getting paid?
Lisa was here the night of the 8th. She came early specifically to inspect the work, to see how, if what was being applied for was actually matching what was done. So she was here, she went down and she reviewed, she looked, you know, and signed off.
That's three parts belong to that review. The architect, the contractor, and the owner, which is the board of trustees.
No, the owner would be Margie.
No, board of trustees.
Joe was here also.
Joe was here also.
Yeah,
Why was I not notified of that meeting when I
It
specifically
wasn't
asked that
a
the three people come together and there's no meeting?
No, I said Joe was here. Joe comes at the end of every week, either Thursday or Friday. He comes, he checks in, he looks at what's happening as the chair of that committee. It's not a meeting, it's him fulfilling his obligations as chair to just keep track of what's happening. So if there's any issues that come up or any problems, he knows. So when he sees that Lisa has signed off on the work, he says, yeah, that's what I'm seeing too.
But he doesn't have the authority to speak for everybody on that committee. That's why we have a committee.
The committee doesn't sign off on the application for payment, the architect does. Every architect we've ever worked with is the person that signs off on the application.
Correct,
for
but
payment.
we go through the meeting to make sure that what she signs off on is the correct thing.
That's never been our practice.
That's what we did all last year.
No.
We sat over here where the guy told me I didn't know what the F I was doing. That was one of those meetings.
That was a construction meeting.
Correct.
That we're not having because this project.
No, because you don't want me to show up.
That actually had nothing to do with you. The committee agreed that the scope of the project was so much smaller.
When was that? When was
We
that?
don't need to have regular
When was
meetings.
that resolution passed?
It was just informally discussed that
Where?
we don't need to, I don't even remember if it was
I don't
before
remember
the
what
last
month it
meeting.
was.
But the scope of the project's smaller. There are so many
No, that's the
fewer
excuse
parts
everybody
that we
keeps
don't
giving.
need.
What, I don't understand the scope is that much smaller.
No, it doesn't.
You
You know,
still have
most
to
of us
meet
had
to
a
see
rush
what
to
he
get
did to
here on
pay him.
Friday. We didn't need to.
Bill, please lower your voice.
Clark, you getting this on film?
Yeah, I wanna make sure you can hear this.
So I would like to say that based on the ongoing discussion, I'm very rapidly no longer feeling safe in this meeting.
Oh, Jesus.
I would just like to say that.
Snowflake.
I don't feel safe here anymore.
I beg your pardon, Phil?
Huh?
Was that a derogatory comment toward a fellow board member?
What was that?
You used the phrase snowflake.
Okay.
What was that in reference to?
I was talking to myself.
You did it too audibly. I thought you were addressing the group.
No.
Yes, David?
So I would just like the president of the board to know that I'm beginning to feel that this is no longer a safe place to be.
Why that?
Is the committee report complete?
I believe it is. Is the committee report complete? It covers what I remember from the meeting.
I'll add one thing too, that I know Lisa doesn't make decisions without consulting us anyway. If there's anything we needed to meet about, we would have a meeting. So if they had to change something and it was going to cost a different amount of money, we would have a meeting if it was going to significantly alter.
Don't you agree
The
that
scope or the
the more
budget.
eyes, the better?
I don't think we do. For what that project is, it's so much smaller. I don't think we need to be here every other
So
week.
he can do whatever he wants because it's a small job. Like put in plywood instead of 1x4.
Well, I
on-
think
on
there are
the
people
doors.
who are keeping an eye. Like Margie said, our chair is here every week. He probably knows more than the rest of us in the committee about what's going on. I trust his decision making.
Didn't we
To
say
notify
back to the
us.
3-minute rule or something?
Yes, we do, and I will whip it out.
Yeah, would you please? Because it applies to resolutions only.
It applies to motions, yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't apply to discussion of committee reports. However, that you can't raise your voice or make derogatory comments about other members of the board applies to everyone during all discussions.
Did that apply to you too?
Yeah,
When you called me a loud,
I didn't do that during the meeting.
yes it was a meeting, we were having a committee meeting.
Yeah, it was at a committee meeting, and I'm not a member of the committee. I was simply listening. I was there as a private person, but you're right. And as a matter of fact, when I said it, you agreed with me, so
Does that stop from it being derogatory?
This is so far off topic of the
yes.
operations.
We're not going to
committee.
discuss this any further. If you have a problem with me, Phil, let me know, but at the time it happened, you did not seem to have a problem with it.
No, I let those things all off my back. Otherwise, I'd go crazy.
I can
People
understand
insult me in
that.
this room.
Okay, that concludes the Operations Committee report. Standards and Development, Lisa, do you want to talk about our meeting tonight at all?
You didn't really need,
We didn't really-
no.
No, we were discussing the records management policy, but the piece we wanted to pass out tonight, none of us had with us. So we're going to chair that until the next regular Standards and Development Committee, which will be in August because we're using the time for that meeting, for the reorganization meeting. That takes us to the Scholarship Committee, Dave.
Well, there was no meeting of the committee as such since the last time we met, but of course, those of you who were here early saw that the recipients of the scholarship were here and they were awarded their scholarships. And I was part of that process, and I can tell the board that this year I was very impressed with the way that everything was handled. I would also like to say that it is my own personal opinion that the move towards a larger role by the Board of Trustees in the scholarship process is not taking place. I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, but it's a reality that we need to know about, and perhaps someday that will change. But it's a wonderful thing that students in the school system provide these funds, and it would help the library. It's not often that you get to do what I call unalloyed good. No one can complain about it. All right, thank you very much. That's all I have to say. I don't want to bother on.
Okay, and that takes us to, yes,
For the record, do you have the exact names and what, are they both seniors, the girls?
yes, they're both seniors, they're graduating seniors.
So,
No, I do not have any information about that. I'm sorry.
I can tell you.
so one is Samantha Shaw,
Yep,
and the other one is Taylor Rugby?
Roby, R-O-B-E-Y.
Roby. Okay.
And if it matters, Samantha received the $1,000 scholarship and Taylor received the $500 scholarship.
Yes, Phil.
Last week at the end of, last month at the end of the, and I'll get to the point in case somebody's trying to come up. There was a list of meetings. Some, I guess, are attended mostly by her, but some can be attended by trustees. I was not notified about this.
It was on the bottom of the your agenda for last month.
Was it?
Yes, it
It was
was.
also mentioned at the meeting.
And it was also
But it
discussed.
was in writing on the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay, my bad.
Okay, anything else about the Scholarship Committee report? Moving on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had asked the mother for a copy of the essays, and she
You're not entitled to that.
Did she say no or yes?
She said yes,
Okay.
and I said I could get it from either Marge or you.
All
We
right.
don't have them.
If I get it, I don't have it.
Oh, you don't
But
have
if she sends it to me, I'll leave it for you.
Okay, because I would have asked her daughter right here and then, but she was busy. Okay.
But that usually stays with Barbara and Jennifer, who are responsible for the Martin LaForce family. And I don't believe that I've been on the committee a number of years and have never received a copy to keep.
Well, can I make a suggestion today to bring up at the next meeting then?
There
Yeah.
have been times when I, early on in this process, they would share the scholarship essays with the board, and they stopped doing that. Really, some of the students were uncomfortable with their essays being shared far and wide.
Really?
Now, that doesn't mean that this young woman won't say, yes, here, take a copy of my essay, but some of the students preferred that it remain private, and they respected that.
Well, can I make a suggestion that in the future that the essays, with the permission of the person that wrote the essay, be either given to the Board of Trustees and/or posted somewhere in the library for people to read, because the subject matter this year was the benefit of using the
Subject matter
library.
is always how the library benefits you.
It's always the same subject? Yeah, so I think it would be beneficial to have that list posted.
I think that's a great suggestion for Barbara and Jennifer. I think if you mention it to them, they'll take that into consideration.
He's on the committee. He's a
They don't
liaison.
have regular they don't have regular
Yeah, but I mean,
meetings.
he should be the one to bring it up to him. But if you give me their name and number, I'll call them.
Would you be willing to contact Barbara and Jennifer by email and mention the suggestion from Phil?
Sure,
Thank you, Dick.
I would be glad to do that.
Okay, well, that takes us to the financial reports. Lisa's going to be making the financial reports tonight since Brian isn't here. The financial reports are found on pages 7 through 20. Lisa, knock yourself out.
Okay, bear with me, please. I'm not used to doing this.
Can I make a motion that we waive the reading because it's right in front of us and we've already read it, and just go to the questions? Nothing personal.
Is there a second to that motion? Not hearing one, the motion fails. Go ahead.
All right. So the balance sheet cash balances, as of May 31st, 2017, were $1,467,286.04, consisting of $49,804.49 in capital funds and $1,417,481.55 in operating funds. Budget versus actual, the library generated revenue of $8,600.74 and is at the May 31st budgeted amount of 39.6% 5 months or 42% through the year. Unrestricted gifts and donations of $4,773.35 are at 39.8% of the annual budget 5 months or 42% through the year. Operating expenditures of $417,230.82 as of May 31st are 41.7% of the annual budget. Net revenue over expenditures for the operating fund is $494,437.85 for 5 months. Operating interest earned was $106.19. Capital expenses are $24,750.82 for one-way construction, $996.57 for Butler Roland Mays, and $490 building permits. Capital interest income was $1.14. Voucher reports, which began on page 15. The vouchers payable this month total $42,472.96, as shown on the unpaid bills detail report, and are presented for audit and approval for payment. The vouchers are for capital expenses totaling $26,237.39 as described above, and $16,235.57 operating expenses. The executive committee recommends, and I hereby make a motion to approve the vouchers as presented. And do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, David. And is there any discussion?
I think we need to break that into, we normally do that as 2 separate motions, 2 separate votes.
Well, there's a motion on the table to do it as two.
As 2 or...
Yeah, she just brought up the regular vouchers.
Just vouchers.
Okay.
I didn't do pre-order.
I'm sorry, then I misheard you.
okay.
I
I'm
apologize.
sorry.
I made the same mistake. Okay, let's go.
But now she's asking for questions if anyone has.
Any questions on the vouchers?
What was the motion?
To accept the vouchers payable this month in the amount of $42,472.96.
Who established the, yeah, I got it. So that includes the capital revenues for one-way construction, right, the 24,000?
Mhm.
How was that established?
It was based on what the architect approved, isn't it?
They submitted an application for payment that's in the basket with the voucher, and all of the supporting documentation is there.
Would you like to see it?
At some point, please. And the 996 for the architect, how was that established?
ongoing, they pay us as the work, it's the same way they've always done it. We approve an amount, or the board, I should say, approves an amount to pay them, and as they complete the work, they submit a bill for payment.
I know we had a resolution to pay the next amount for for setting up the drawings for the entrance and the teen room. Did we approve an amount for them for the project?
The project?
The project itself? Or they're getting 10% of the,
You
How
can
is that?
see, is this here, this is what we're being billed for.
That was rolled into the amount we approved, right?
You can see what they're being, what they're billing for.
okay, so part of it's a grant application, the other one is a project implementation phase.
Yep.
Did we approve that amount, that 11,500? Wow. Well, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to abstain, because I don't have time, it's not right to have everybody wait while I try to read that, but can I just hold on to that till the end of the meeting?
To the end of the meeting, yes.
I'll put it over here, so I don't get 30.
Okay, so there's
Thank
a
you.
motion, is that the end of the discussion? There's a motion before the board to pay the audit for the regular vouchers in the amount of $42,472.96. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 affirmative. Do we have any negative votes? And do we have, or you want to vote against it?
Yes,
Okay, so
yes.
that's 5 to 1. The motion passes.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
This library generated revenue of 8,600 and change, what is that? Is that the fines?
Yeah,
That's purely just fines?
fines, fees,
Okay.
there's copier money in there, it comes from a variety of sources.
We had a good month last month, so. Okay, Lisa, do you want to continue?
Sure. Pre-audit vouchers, which can be found on page 18, presented for audit and approval, total $21,200.72. The executive committee recommends, and I hereby make a motion to approve the pre-audit vouchers. May I have a second, please?
Annie?
Thank you, Andy. And are there any discussions about the pre-audit vouchers? No.
Why are we prepaying the Super Saturday program?
Bill, I think we've discussed this before. We write the check and we approve it at this meeting, and then the check is held for when the Saturday program takes place, because it would be done prior to our July meeting, so the check has to be written and signed before the July meeting in order to pay the presenter on the day they do the program.
And that's been our practice for many, many years.
And we've discussed it before,
So this is just so you can pay them on the day they perform?
right,
After
after the performance.
It's easy enough.
Just out of curiosity, what happens if we approve it and they don't perform?
They don't get the
They don't
check.
get the check. We hold the check. It's in the safe right now. Or it will be as soon as I put it in an envelope.
Are there any other questions concerning the pre-audit vouchers? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. We have a motion on the table to approve the pre-audit vouchers in the total amount of $16,235. I'm sorry, I'm the wrong line. $21,200.72. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's unanimous.
Okay, the donation report, which is found on page 19. Donations received during May total $1.45, as detailed in the donation activity report. The executive committee recommends, and I hereby make a motion to approve the donations in the amount of $1.45. May I please have a second?
Ellen,
Thank you, Ellen.
is there any discussion of the donations? Phil, do you want to discuss the donations?
Sort of. Is there a rule, or is it just crass to have a thing there that says donations?
No, because we want to recognize people who give us gifts, And the people also make donations when they're paying their fines or buying books.
Right.
They let us keep the change.
Right.
So we wanted to be able to differentiate where the money came from that was donated. So we break out the cash register from somebody who sends a $50
Right.
check or whatever.
I don't think that's his question.
No, thank you. Is it wrong to have a box there that says donations for the library? You know, that you can just put money in?
I don't think we can raise money that way. I think it has to go through the Friends because they're a 503 corporation.
No, truly we could. But I think you're asking for trouble. You're gonna get people engaging in an argument. I pay taxes, why are you asking me for donations? There's also gonna be a temptation. How is that container going to be there? There's going to be a temptation that someone's gonna see a bunch of bills and they're gonna want it. Why set yourself up for that? People do pay their taxes to support the library, and, you know, donations should be from the heart, not placed in front of them.
Okay, well then, I will think about this and I'll see if I can come up with maybe a sign that says, even though we are taxpayer funded, any and all donations are greatly appreciated to offset the cost of running the library, but I'll work on that.
Well, I think that's a really good project to go through the Friends, because the Friends are our fundraising arm, and they go out to the public and say, please donate.
I would agree with you a number of years ago, but now it seems that they don't help the library unless their name can be on it and it has to go through them. It's not there to really offset the cost, although by them giving us the money, we don't have to put it out, so in a way it does offset the cost, so.
And it also separates money given through the Friends is for things above and beyond our regular operating budget.
Mm-hmm.
Our regular operating budget comes out of taxpayer funds.
Mm-hmm.
Donations to the Friends pay for things above and beyond that. So, and if by putting it on there, it encourages people to donate to the Friends. Look, the Friends did this. I can tell because it was donated by the Friends. Yes, David.
I would just like to say that I'm inclined to agree a little bit with Phil in the direction he's headed. I would like to say that as a newcomer to the city of Kingston a number of years ago, 10 years ago, it was some time before I even knew there was a Friends of the Kingston Library. And they probably are, you know, we're so into it that we know about the Friends, and we know about this, and we know all about everything. But people who just come to learn and get books.
So we should make the Friends of the
The Friends
Library
donation box.
information, no, just the information about the Friends of the Library more visible.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
we can work with them to set up a small
That-
display.
That would be a really good idea. I could be 100% behind that idea.
Because that would make people coming to the library more aware of the Friends.
That would be a great idea. That would be a great idea. I also think that it might be, if we can figure out a good way to do it, to encourage people to make donations when they're in the library, just walking around. Now, I understand the problems. We're taxpayer funded. How are you going to keep the money secure? Those would be the two things.
Well, and another one for me is I feel strongly that when people come to the library, they should feel that they're here with no obligation. It's one of the few places in the world that you
You
can
just sold me on it.
come
You just
and
convinced
feel
me.
like it's all
Not to
for
bring your wallet.
you. No obligation.
You just convinced me.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Is there any other discussion of the donation report?
Didn't convince me, but.
It's fine. We have a motion before the board to accept the donation report in the amount of $1.45 as detailed in the donation activity report. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. That's 6, it's unanimous, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll mention that I want to switch.
Okay. So budget modifications, which are found on page 20. There is one budget modification this month, number 2017-3, which records 3 grants awarded to teen summer programs and the corresponding expenses. The executive committee recommends, and I hereby make a motion to accept the one budget modification that's shown on page 20. Is there a second?
Annie, thank you.
And is there any discussion about the budget modifications?
What is L 2720. L 2720.
That's the income line for grants.
Is it on here?
Every night, run. Same time.
What do you, Jen? That's all.
So grant revenue,
Yep. So what we're
that
doing,
4,500 was not part of the part we collected from taxes?
no, that's grants.
Right, I understand that,
Grants
that
are
didn't go
separate.
towards that amount that we
No.
collect on
No,
taxes.
No.
these were grants for a specific purpose. The grant was written for money to support the teen programs. And the money that we got goes to support the teen programs, teen and adult programs, teen, adult programs, teen heart lab.
So we're taking it out of the grant line?
What we're doing is we're raising the grant line, and as a result, we're raising the expense lines. It's
So
just-
what, we got $4,500 from somebody?
We got smaller grants. I think it was 3 individual grants. I think 1,000 was from, and don't quote me, it's about 1,000 from the Ulster Savings Bank. It was a little over 2,000, like 2,000 something from Arts and Hudson, and somewhere between like 250 and 500 from the Bank of Greene County. And those were not donations, they were grants.
Yeah, that was written someplace, I read that, but I don't know where I read it. So, we don't have to accept those?
No.
Because we applied for them. We filled out paperwork and sent it in saying, please give us this money for this purpose.
Right, so,
And it's not matching, correct?
No.
It's just a gift.
I mean, we could turn it back. If the board right now said, we don't want you to run the teen art lab in the summer, turn it back, we could take that check and give it back to
well,
Arts Mid Hudson.
it's not the point that I'm getting at. I don't understand if this is coming out of our 4,500 that we put in the budget?
No.
Or so don't we have to accept grant from these 3-4 people?
Essentially,
And
what
then-
you're doing by accepting this budget modification, you're saying, yes, we understand and accept that there is $4,500 coming into our grant line, and it's being distributed to these other 2 lines to allow for programming. That's what the trustees
How
are
come every
doing.
other meeting that I can recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure we will, do we have to accept grants?
We accept donations, not necessarily grants.
Okay. So we accept donations, but we don't accept, we don't have to
Donation
accept
is where
grants.
someone says, I'll give you a check for $5,000, I want you to do this. The library can decide, we don't want to do that, we're going to refuse that donation.
So somewhere in these things, there'll be a bump up of 4,500?
You're gonna see that on, yes, that line L7410.409.
No. No, I'm looking at L 2720 on page 1 of the.
Yeah, so what does it say now for grants?
Well, according to this one that I picked up yesterday, it said 4,500.
All right, it's possible that Eileen forgot that we were waiting until after the meeting to to reflect the budget modifications. It's possible that it's already reflected there.
Well, it
And I know
said,
that was wrong.
well, it says here, under budget, it shows it as part of the budget.
When we prepare a budget, that grant line is 0. We don't assume grants until we apply for them and receive them. Then we add them
So
to.
that line is supposed to be 0 then?
Yeah.
So she put 45 in there when she's,
Like I said, it was wrong.
It was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
She was anticipating us approving.
Yeah,
Like,
she was anticipating, and I
Yeah,
know
I
that
thought we
she
had that
should.
discussion
I know,
before.
and that's what I'm saying.
but even
It was
so,
wrong.
that would excuse the 4,500 on the left side here under the dates, January through May, but it shouldn't excuse this one, not that same excuse, because that should be 0 no matter what we get, right? Because the
What is-
budgeted line was 0, you said?
But when we do the modification, it modifies that line to $4,500.
That's what you're modifying. You're modifying the budget.
0 to 4,500.
Okay, so we're adding this, okay, so then you can add to the budget.
Yep, you can add to the budget.
Wow. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will Call the question. There's a motion before the board to accept budget modification 2017-3. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. We have 6 in favor. It passes unanimously. Okay, moving on. Is that the end of your financial?
It is.
No?
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
I have, this one I picked up yesterday, which is different than the one we read today.
It is. I worked with Eileen, and
Okay, well,
the information that she originally put in there was incorrect. The information that you have in tonight's packet is correct.
well, just the fact that we don't have to pay them.
Correct.
So we don't pay them their salary or any of these penalties and
Nope,
interest and
nothing.
all that stuff.
Nothing.
No.
Nor will we ever have to.
Nope.
That's good.
And that's going to be part of the director's report. Okay, moving on from the financial report, we get to page 21, which is the president's report. This has been a quiet month. The work has been on the teen space lobby is progressing well and looks to be completed in early July, for an early July opening. When the official reopening is scheduled, hopefully you will all be able to attend, and once we have that date, everybody will be notified. It's nice to see Kristen back at the reference desk preparing for a busy summer session. The proposed change to a building monitor seems positive and cost-effective, and while giving us more control over what the monitor is expected to do and make them answerable to the director and the building supervisor. I also want to thank the Friends for their commitment to raise $40,000 towards the fence project, and I hope and expect that all members of the Board of Trustees will support and assist with this to the best of your abilities. That takes us to the director's report. Page 22.
So I was pleased once again that the June 6th election went smoothly. Camille DePerna and the other election workers did a great job. It's always nice to be able to rely on people who know what they're doing. Budget passed with strong in favor. It's a small turnout, but you know, I think it was 3-1 in favor of the budget, and our 3 incumbents were re-elected, so that's great. Ali Salepi is scheduled to return to work next Monday, June 19th. We've scheduled staffing to allow her to return on her own terms until she understands just what she's able to do, how long she's able to work, that kind of thing. But we're looking forward to having her back at work in whatever capacity starting June 19th. Kristen and Stephanie are hard at work scheduling summer reading programs and events. Some of the children's summer flyers are available. The teen summer flyers will be available soon. The opening party for the younger children is Saturday, June 24th. And if you look at our online calendar, you'll be able to see all of the programs up there so you can see everything that we're offering. As has already been noted, the teen space and the lobby are moving along. Still planning on having some of our teen summer programs in the new space. It's looking like we're probably going to reopen maybe a week after the 4th of July, about that. So maybe mid-July is when we're looking at. This coming Saturday is Midtown Make a Difference Day, and we'll be manning a table with crafts and summer reading information and little things to give away. So if anyone's around that day, come by. It's always fun to see everybody that's out there. The discussion around the building monitor, our recent contract with Shire Reef ended at the end of May. We've decided, I've decided not to ask for renewal of that contract, but instead create a position here at the library of a building monitor. And it seems to make more sense. Lots of libraries, I've looked online and found job descriptions. Somebody who circulates through the building, is aware of people's behavior, assists in very light custodial kinds of things, just making sure things are tidy and neat, advising staff of any issues that they notice, that kind of thing. And it would actually be less expensive for us to pay a staff person than to pay the contract for Shire Reeve. So as I work with Jackie DiFalco over at Civil Service to create a job description, I'll continue to work with the board to
So we haven't actually hired someone?
we have not hired someone. What we need to do is get a job description in place and then hire according to that job description. It will be a part-time position, will be the same hours that we have been having a security guard, but I don't think a security guard is necessary. I don't think it's ever been necessary, and I think it makes more sense for us to have a building monitor instead.
And I just, maybe it's a stupid question, but, so, is there gonna be some kind of definition of this person's training and background with respect to security issues?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We've never really needed a security guard as such. We're not, it's not an armored car, we're not carrying cash around. It's really more of a building monitor. We need somebody moving through the building, just being aware of what's happening, because staff have their service stations. Like, children's librarians can't wander through the hall upstairs when they're helping patrons in the children's room. We really just need a monitor
I
who's
think that
paying
the reason that
attention.
we would have one is for both employee and customer safety. That's the reason. we
And I'm
have
gonna
it.
say this, that the people that we've had as security guards were not providing that level of security.
All right, so then, moving right along,
I mean,
what I would like to say
yeah,
is, I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Especially if it saves us some money. And it also gives us greater control over the
it
particular
gives us
individual.
much greater control.
And I would just like to say that I would like to see, I would like to see, a fairly well thought out, a clear-cut definition of that individual's background and experience.
Do you mean a job description?
No, well,
Because what we,
job requirements, that the person who takes the position
yeah,
needs to not have 100% of his background working with the public in Kmart. The person needs to have some kind of background that includes making judgments about people's behavior.
okay.
It's
That's the kind of thing that you hope to get at in an interview.
But it needs to be written down in the job description, and it needs to be a formal requirement of the position.
That's why I work with Jackie, because she knows the legalities, the ins and outs of writing a job description, what you can put in, what you can't put in. I'm hearing you, and I will take that into consideration as I'm working with her.
Right,
But there's certain things that you, first of all, you don't want a job description to be so granular that there's one person in the world that
No,
needs it.
I don't want to do that.
And I also want to be very cautious about running afoul of legalities.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just
Making it,
trying to make it, as a member of the board of trustees, I believe it's one of my responsibilities, and I said this to you in the past, is the safety of our customers and the safety of our staff. I think that's one of one of my principal responsibilities, one of them. And as part of that responsibility, I would like to see a very clear requirement that whoever we hire for this position has, if not experience, because I know we don't have infinite money to pay this person, it might be an entry-level position, but he has at least some level of formal training in this area, in the area of security and securing public spaces, which are open to the public. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see that written down, that this person has some level of formal training in that area, whether he or she got it probably in the military.
well, I hate to say this, but I could do the job that I'm thinking of. I have zero formal training in military, security, policing, but I could do the job, and I could do it darn well. And I hate to eliminate people because we've written the job description so granularly that, you don't meet this, so we can't even talk to you, kind of
But
thing.
we could put in something somewhere along the line that preference would be given.
Yeah,
for this
desirable.
kind of
You can use
experience.
the word desirable.
We can say desirable,
You can
absolutely.
say the word desirable.
But when you have clear-cut job requirements, you start to run into
I don't want you
trouble.
to pin you down so you can't make it flexible. But I would like it to see it in writing that these issues have been thought about,
okay.
they've been prioritized, and I expect that other members of the board would agree with me. I don't want to make a big issue out of this, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I really feel it's very important. And I would like to see the requirements for this position in writing presented to the board for review.
Oh, sure, job description, sure. That's what I'm telling you, that I'm gonna be working with Jackie to create a job description, which I will keep you abreast of.
I have a quick question. Do you have somebody who's acting as a building monitor right now, if their contract is
Me,
up?
Mary Lou,
Okay,
Stephanie.
so there hasn't been
Allison.
an official extra person to do? Yeah.
Yes, Phil.
What's the policy right now on if there's a disruptive person, as used to be security guard confronts them and there's continue to be belligerent?
Call the police.
That's about it. They're not allowed to apprehend them, they're not allowed to
Nope.
restrain
And that's why
them or
I'm
anything, right?
saying that security training is not particularly helpful.
Right,
It's good judgment, it's an ability not to escalate an
now
issue,
we agree on something.
you know, so,
The only downfall I have is if you try to get a predetermined description from the civil service, that it might preclude this person from doing some of the things, the light work that you would like them to do as far as.
I've actually already checked with Jackie to see what she has. She's shown me what they already have, and it's really not suitable. So she said, she and I can work together to create something new, which can then be brought to the board. And I actually, within 5 minutes, found 4 different perfectly suitable library monitor job descriptions that I looked at and went, oh, that's exactly what I want. And I found 4 of them.
Because you gotta remember, the staff is handling themselves when there's no security guard around
Right.
rather well.
But we do like to have someone here when the building is extremely busy. You know, when there's lots of people in the building and there's lots of people checking out books or lots of people engaged in a program, the staff have even less time. You know, so you're abandoning your regular work to handle an issue.
I forgot to ask a while back, you said that one lady used to redistribute the DVDs and the books and whatnot, she was a volunteer? I don't remember her name, because all it said was volunteer. But we have no volunteers to do that anymore, right? That put the books back on the shelf and the DVDs back on the shelf.
Oh, she wasn't a volunteer. She wore a volunteer tag just so she wasn't misidentified as staff. What she was a paid employee, but she was being paid through the New York State Department of Labor as a...
Trainee type thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was through the,
Green thumb
Yeah, I know.
something.
whatever Green Thumb became.
Yeah,
Experience works.
Experience.
Yeah.
okay.
So-
And we- yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Going back to that question though, with the increased traffic with the summer, do you think we need to have somebody temporarily? Or do you think you guys are managing it?
I think we're managing it okay,
Okay.
because I'll be bluntly honest and say that the last several people that Shire Reeve has sent here have done nothing to
Yeah.
help staff. Staff has been doing it anyway.
Yeah,
But
I
we've
even
been
just met an
paying for
extra
someone.
staff member, is it worth?
Well, we do have extra
Yeah.
staff people in the
Okay.
summer, so that's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, besides
Just
that-
making sure your needs are covered, so.
Yeah, yeah.
We had one security guard when we had activities going out outside and kids were getting a little rambunctious. And I asked them to go stand outside just so that they knew we were watching them.
Yeah.
And she told me she doesn't like people or crowds. So,
I've also had other security guards say that they don't answer to us, they answer to Shire Reeve.
Ooh. I like the ones that used to sit on the trash cans and just sit
Yep.
there all night while people are checking their books in the
Yeah,
mail.
so they were seeing what was happening in the bathroom on the second floor outside, right? They were seeing that. So this is why I'm asking that we change to an on-staff building monitor rather than a contracted person. So my last thing from my report is the pretty little maps that you've all got from the Ulster County Library Association Public Relations Committee. This is just a small thing that they had put together through the Library Association to be able to hand out at libraries, to, you know, put around different communities if libraries were so inclined. Just to make people aware that, you know, there's 21 libraries in Ulster County and we do collaborate.
It's First of the House Pancake is the illustrator. It's the person's studio is called First of the House Pancake. It's kind of like a twist on a
Oh,
game.
yeah, for Kingston Library, you got a security guard.
No, we don't.
Yeah, it's really cute. I think she showed a snippet of it recently, but she couldn't show the whole thing to
Okay.
us out.
So you know the
I
artist.
do.
Okay.
First of the pancake?
First of the House Pancake.
First of the house.
I think she's in Rhode Island. Yeah.
Don't they usually?
They do a lot of wedding invitations,
Don't they
but
usually put their little?
they do, but